Any place that promotes feelings of anxiety, suffering, and pain will be a low-frequency spot, and whatever holds a low frequency will cause a bridge or an opening, or a portal to the lower astral. Same for places where death has occurred, such as hospitals, old battlegrounds, buildings, and houses that had something horrible happen in them. Frequency and energy do remain in the minerals and materials they are built with, as a natural magnetic hard drive, and it is very difficult to reprogram new higher energy into them, but not impossible. What makes it so difficult is that a low-frequency place will be a nest and a portal to the underworld or lower astral, so all kinds of entities, some disincarnate human souls, and others that may only be lower astral animals, such as aura parasites, will make those places their own, and perceive those places as their property. Therefore, many times they will even defend it from what they perceive to be human intruders. Many times a murder may have taken place in a house, for example, causing it to ultimately be haunted because the soul of the deceased person has not yet found peace, as it is said often, but this may not necessarily be the case, as the simple fact of there being such low frequency in that place or house is enough for other entities to plague the premises, taking it over as their place of residence, therefore, causing the visible effects of the haunted. Moving on, logically another very low frequency place would be cemeteries, which usually are found next to a temple or a church, on the same grounds. Many say cemeteries are not good places to find ghosts as they have already left the remains of their physical bodies and will not remain on the premises, although this, at first sight, may be a logical assumption. People who have crossed over to the spirit world no longer hold the concept or the experience of linear time, therefore maybe they're next to the remains of their body and for them, their death has happened recently and they are still in the process of assimilating their new, disincarnate state, this not meaning in any way that they have gotten lost, or strayed away from their path to the afterlife. So they may still be there from the point of view of the living. But then there is yet another factor that makes cemeteries a dangerously low-frequency place, and it is that there is much human suffering associated with those places, logically, and therefore is a perfect place to find all kinds of portals that lead to the lower astral, which allow entities to access the world of the living. Therefore cemeteries are perfect nesting and feeding grounds for everything found in the lower astral. Visiting cemeteries without a strong high personal frequency and vibration is a very bad idea, because if a living person holds a low enough and compatible frequency with any of those lower astral entities, they may attach themselves to the living person's aura, and he or she may take the entity back home with them. Children are very vulnerable to astral attachments, the younger the more vulnerable they are, because their aura field has not developed yet, and neither has their personality and their strength of character. Young children are full of life force, and that alone may provoke feelings of envy and need, from dark astral entities, causing them to want to attach themselves to the child as they are so full of vital energy. Cemeteries are probably the worst commonly found place to take a child into, and I insist that you should never, ever take a child to a cemetery. This is very important. The next places that hold a dangerously low vibration are jails and psychiatric hospitals. All hospitals hold a very low vibration, because of all the human suffering and the deaths associated with those places, as would be expected, but psychiatric hospitals are the worst kind because of the heavy astral parasitation many, if not all the patients have, and are what cause their symptoms and ill behaviors. And as for jails, there is always a lot of suffering, despair and pain going on in those places, to the point where it is even said that the whole place is being run by dark entities directly from the astral. Government buildings also hold extremely low frequency and vibration because they are control centers for humanity, so astral entities like to be there whispering ill ideas into the easily controllable minds of those government officials, ideas that will affect an entire population, most usually in a bad way. Moreover, many government buildings are old and have been used before for other shadier purposes, so they naturally hold a memory of ugly things. Then there are other places that are low-frequency astral entity feeding grounds, such as nightclubs and low-life endeavor places, which are rich environments for portals feeding and nesting grounds for dark astral entities, and it is easy to get an unwanted attachment from such places. Alcohol consumption also lowers a person's frequency and promotes astral parasitation, making the person compatible in frequency with lower astral entities, because alcohol lowers the subject's mind and willpower. This is also why alcoholic beverages are called spirits. Every word is there for a reason. Pay attention to the wording. Although I respect each one of your decisions about what you put into your mouth, I strongly discourage the consumption of any alcoholic beverages. This is also why having an alcohol problem causes a downward spiral in the quality of life of the individual, and can destroy it completely. This is exactly the kind of emotional suffering dark astral entities want and need for their survival. For those aware enough, it is easy to detect places that hold a low vibration. Pay attention to how you feel wherever you are, and when you go into one or another place. Don't dismiss that feeling, trust your intuition. If a place feels sick, it probably is a low-frequency area and you cannot always know why. The place may simply be a store or a mall, but you don't know what it was built on, why, or what else is going on nearby. If any place or anything feels sickening for you, then it is. You don't really need more data. How you feel in each place, or about anything is what counts. Having a strong and stable aura field, holding your vibration high, also using high-energy potentiating objects such as amethyst crystals and other beautiful minerals can help you stay and keep your aura strong while you are in those low-frequency places, should it be necessary for you to be in one. Never fear those places, remember that. Fear is one of the mechanisms astral entities have to control and take over your mind, as well as to absorb and feed from your vital energy. Be fearless, always, but here I mean when you enter a low-frequency place, make them fear you, not you them. And as a last note, although human technology is said that it cannot detect astral entities, ghosts, and so on, the technology of other more advanced civilizations can detect them very easily using interferometer readings, gravity and mass displacements and advanced optical lenses that can detect subtly ultra-low and ultra-high light waves and energy patterns. Ghosts and astral entities are not theory and are not metaphysics for highly advanced interstellar civilizations, they are a proven scientific fact. I strongly suspect human technology can also detect all those entities, but it's not available to the public, mostly for population control and manipulation purposes.